just take one off the top. Yes. Patricia Little. Patricia Little.
Yes, yes, sir.
I'm not
Okay,
sure.
we're speaking here.
My parents taught me to treat everyone with respect. So you are, sir.
Well, thank you.
I probably don't need a microphone. Can y'all hear me? Yeah. Okay, very good. My name is Patricia Little. I'm the Miller Township Trustee. I represent the 10,000 residents of the unincorporated area of Miller Township. So people in Hidden Valley Lake. The TIF District is not in my township. I'll say that at the outset. However, the job of a township trustee is to provide fire protection services for the people that live in their district. So that's my job. That's Denise's job as Harrison Township trustee. The TIF District is inside her township. So as a the board here has 5 members. The state law allows counties to put 7 members on a redevelopment commission. Dearborn County hasn't done that. And they said, y'all don't have a representative to speak for you. Well, the county hasn't decided to put a representative. The people in my township elected me to represent them as an unincorporated area. And there's nobody representing the unincorporated areas on this commission. That's a problem that I have with this. Second problem is, as someone who receives revenue, this TIF district flatlines what I'm going to receive to be able to set contracts with the fire department. So imagine for the next 25 years, I got to say, sorry guys, no more money's coming in. This is the max I've got to give you for the next 25 years. So that's kind of a problem, and I know by state law, because I spent the last few days looking up all this, in 2023, the state legislature said money from TIF districts could begin to be paid for public safety services. But as far as I know, not the first dime has gone from the TIF districts that this county maintains to the fire departments or to the units that contract with them for fire protection services. So that's a problem, because that means everybody that's not inside one of those TIF districts, our rates have to go up to compensate for the areas that are that their taxes don't get to increase for 25 years. It has an unintended consequence, and I'm not against development. I'm not against fixing problems that we've ignored for the last 20 years. They need to be addressed, but your elected representatives need a seat at the table. The county needs to be talking to them ahead of time and not getting a notice at the last minute. And public safety needs, because if Bright grows and there are more, the bank, and all the businesses that go in there, they all need those safety services. And right now, they haven't gotten money back out of the TIFs. And this would be the 3rd TIF district that goes on Harrison Township. So they're locked in, and they're not getting an increase in the revenues to provide for those services. Those are my issues.
Thank you.
With this.
Thank you. One thing I would like to mention, no, there's no representatives from Bright on here.
Or from any unincorporated area. You know, so when you go into the
Sure.
unincorporated area.
Yeah. What was four to five of us are your neighbors. And maybe that's why we started worrying about this. And Denise Bowling. You have a loud voice, or would you like some assistance?
I have an extremely loud voice, so you don't have to worry about it. My husband complains about it quite often.
Maybe I'll continue here. I wouldn't have this.
Thank you. I don't know, I don't even have to say anything now because Pat just talked for me. So I am the Harrison Township Trustee, and I was elected by the Harrison Township and all its members, and I just found out about this. Isn't that neat? So, like Pat just said, I mean, since I'm supposed to represent them, it would have been nice to know what was coming. I mean, I'll get phone calls, and I don't know, I just seen it on Facebook too. So that is the main problem for me. Like Pat said, we have a TIF down in West Harrison. That's where the mill went, if anybody knows where the mill is. Because of the mill, that is a combustible, they do a flour, and that's very combustible. So we have to contract with Harrison Fire Department because they are closer. And because of that being combustible, they want they want a little bit more money to make sure that they're there on, you know. But you guess, so our township has to pay more taxes our citizens have to pay more taxes so we can cover that fire. And we have not received anything for that from the TIF. So, I mean, that's where the problem lies. And again, like Pat says, I'm all for, you know, let's improve the area. I'm not against that. But just like you said, that the one member on there is from the board, the school board, but then you went on to say the school board doesn't get any tax money, and they're not any. So I would think with the Harrison Township, we do get tax money, so it would be kind of important for, if you don't want me, that's where it's going to be the TIF, at least have an adjoining trustee or something that we have some say, at least know what's going on. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that has turned out to be pretty good. That's 2 in a row that missed it by 22 seconds. Sorry. Chief Kendall.
Right here, sir. Good morning. My name's Kendall Everhart. I'm the Chief of Bright Fire EMS. My main concern is not a personal concern, even though I do live in the area, but I kind of represent a voice of the department, where we are an unincorporated area, and we only get funding from our township trustees for fire. And the dollar amount we receive is not compatible with today's fire standards and costs to do business. It's simply not there. Well, when we look at a gross income to the department of maybe $300,000 a year from our trustees, because that's all they can give, that does not cover the cost of fire service. The county has just recently implemented an LIT for EMS. That will cover some small amount of employee costs to provide ambulance service to our area. And currently we cover approximately 25,000 people. Bright covers half the population of Year 1 County. We see this growth coming in, and we're not taken back by it, we're not offended by it, we're not against it. That's reality. We're going to grow. We live in a great area, people want to come and raise their kids there. But as a department, we're at a crossroads to where, how much more can we give? you know, if you look at our run numbers, they have increased steadily over the years, partially due to traffic increasing in Bright, you know, people moving in, and the development out in the Logan side of the area. And when a department goes from 400 or 500 runs a year to last year, we made over close to 1,600 runs in 1 year. At what point does the department get a solid answer of, hey, here is some funding. Hey, we want to help grow this area, but we also want to help the infrastructure by providing to the fire services in your area. Does anybody realize how much it costs to buy a fire truck nowadays? $1 million. And if it wasn't for our trustee in Miller Township, she was able to put a tax in place, a cumulative fund tax, enough over the past 5 years we saved up to buy a used engine to replace our 25-year-old trucks. This doesn't include the supplies and materials needed on it, the tools needed on it. And at what point does the department finally get a solid answer of, hey, we want to help you guys out? And we clearly see on there it says for emergency services, police and fire. But yet Harrison has not received any funding from her TIF in her area. We are on that first call in to the mill. So when Harrison Fire Department goes in there, we go in there. But we don't have no extra funding for them. But yet we provide the services to them. At what point is the fire department told, hey, we got a solid answer for you to get some funding, instead of telling us to go fry chicken? It's ridiculous. And again, we are not against the growth. We just want funding to do our jobs. And we have maxed out our volunteers to the point where all we can give. And we see this is growing, and the first thing out of my member's mouth is, how are we going to keep up with the run volume? How are we going to keep up with this? So again, we are not against it. We are for making the area better and more enjoyable to live in. But we want someone to take notice. Our fire department needs some help. That's all we're asking. And it's clearly in that plan to offer funding to the fire department. I would think that would be one of the first and foremost things is, what can we do for you guys? What do you need? What can we help you to help you guys grow to cover this area, because you are in an unincorporated area? Because that safety LIT tax that is in place for all the county that our 25,000 residents pay into, none of that comes back to Bright because we are not incorporated. That only goes to towns or cities. Our only way to come down and get that funding is to come down in front of county council and ask for it, which has been voted down numerous times until we have gotten the LIT money for the EMS, which they've approved for us. And then we did get an ambulance out of it at one point. But that's all we have gotten. And I think the people in our area deserve to see money coming back and money coming to help first responding services do their jobs. And I don't think that's too much to ask. And I would love to personally be involved with, hey, what do you need, Chief? What does your department need? What can we do to help you to also help serve the people of Bright? That's all we're asking. Is there any definitive dollar amount that can be set aside for fire? Is there any plan to even give money to fire, or does it just come up on the screen and say, hey, we can help emergency services, but we end up like Harrison and we receive nothing? That would be our question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Before the ovation, I was about to say, there's probably nobody here who is not sympathetic to what we just heard. And we understand that.